All right. Hello, beautiful souls. I am so happy that you all got to get here live. Anyone who's catching the replay, I promise you're going to get this as soon as possible. This is going to be something that you can do honestly at any time. You can refer back to this event pretty much at any check in moment of the year if you just want a refresher of what the heck did Danielle say? What is going on? Because there's just going to be so much that we're covering in the next 3 days. And that is why I did not want to make this event just one workshop, because that's what I've done in the past. And I know for myself that it can get very overwhelming very quickly to even share about all of that astrology, let alone consume and receive all of that astrology. So, what we're going to do here is we are going to just do a little bit of introductions. Of course, I got not just myself here, but I have two incredibly talented astrologers that are also going to be joining me for this week. And I'm going to introduce them a little bit. And then, of course, we're just going to start with day one. We're going to talk about why I felt it was so important for us to not just jump into the year ahead and do a reflection of this year first, because I think we can all agree this was a very transformative year, and it probably changed us all at our core in a really big dynamic way. And I think it's important for us to root and anchor into who we are here and now, not necessarily to like go into a whole, oh gosh, I have to remember every little thing that happened this year, but more of just like recap of like, okay, what were some of the major themes that showed up for me this year? What were some of the major areas of my life that's changed? What are some of the ways that I'm different and I'm going to kind of approach this new year differently than maybe I approached the beginning of 2024? And it's just a really beautiful chance for you to check in with yourself. And I think that that is so important for us to do all the time, but especially when we get to do it in a collective setting like this one, and we can kind of share some of these deeper parts of ourselves that we sometimes keep to ourselves. Because, when we're on this journey of healing and self reflection and self growth, it can get a little lonely sometimes. So I think that that's why I wanted this community to really feel connected and to meet each other, and not necessarily just have this be like a one-to-one experience. So I'm just going to start reading some of the chat. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you, Wanda. She said this spot is better. Yes. Julianne is here. Hello, my love. Tuning in from Toronto. We got Miami in the house. Sun and Moon and Aries, Scorpio risings. I'm so excited. Coming in from Canada, we got, okay, I'm going to start to see the thread. I love like seeing what's the common theme of like who's in my circle. All right. So I see Cancer, I see Aquarius. I'm also a Leo moon, Heidi. All right. We got Columbus, Ohio. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for you guys. So yeah, let me know, what are you excited about? What draw you like to this event? Like what brought your attention? Like talk to me. What are you curious about when it comes to 2025? What's like the reason why you're like, okay, no, I need to make sure that I'm there. I don't want to miss the tea. I can't miss out. Oh, I'm so happy. Yes. We got a couple different Cancer risings in the house, both daughters. We're going to be talking about that. Yes. I love it. Virgo energy. Oh my gosh. And Spain. Hi, Alexis. I see you, mama. And Vegas. I want to know the tea. Tell me what's happening in the stars. I got that astrology, girl. I always got that astrology. All right. So, for those who don't know me, I feel like we all somehow know me. But for those who don't, or if this is your first time in any type of workshop with me or any type of class with me, let me know. But my name is Danielle. As you know, I am an intuitive astrologer. I'm Pisces sun. I am a Leo moon, and I am a Leo rising. So you know that I bring the hype. I'm always here to make sure that we are not going to deliver this content in any type of way that we're taking our power away, that we're giving our power away to anything outside of ourselves. Okay. Like we have to recognize that the cosmos is a mirror. And that is the way that I like to teach it. It's a reflection of our own selves, okay? Our own free will. So we have to recognize, like, yes, there are going to be a lot of different shifts that are happening next year. However, a lot of these planets are outer planets, and we're going to be talking about that in the next couple of days, which what that means is it's a lot of the generational planets. It's going to be like collective change. It's going to be change on a societal level. So, yes, of course, we're going to be diving into the signs that are going to be impacted the most. And we're going to also talk about like how this is going to just be a big energetic shift in general for everybody. Like, what are some ways that you can be prepared for these shifts? What are some practical ways that you can utilize these shifts in your life? And it's not just on like a big event type of scale, but it's more like, okay, the macro to micro, right? Like, what's my role in this? How can I be the best leader for myself through these changes? And how can I also be the best service for other people through these changes? Because that's just how this works, right? We're all mirrors for each other at the end of the day. So, we're going to be talking a lot about these big, big, big changes. However, first we need to really check in with what the hell just happened, right? Like 2024 was, it was literally one of those years that I feel like I want you to tell me, actually. I want to hear from you because I know Calliope is in here, and Calliope is like my business bestie. That's my right hand woman. We've been like locking hands this entire year. But in January, Calliope got on a call together and we were like, oh my God, this is our year. And we were like, we're gonna be big, we're gonna be famous. Like we just got into like our whole like Leo moon stardom. Like this is our chance. And then I'll never forget. Calliope looks at me. She's doing the tarot for me. And she pulled two cards for me. And if you're not familiar with tarot, but I know Heidi's here, so I know some of y'all are familiar with tarot, okay? She pulled the Hermit card and then she pulled the Moon card. And she was like, ugh. She's like, listen, Danielle, I'm just gonna keep it straight with you. I don't know how much you're gonna be like out in the open. Like you might be a little bit more like introverted this year. You might be going through a lot of healing this year. And I was like, no, I'm not subscribing to that belief. Nope. And then literally, it was like, what, 2 weeks into January? Actually, I started this year without a computer. Like Mercury retrograde took my computer in December and I had to get a new computer. And that was an initiation all on its own. And then Pluto, it was just starting with Pluto. Pluto was like rearing his head, like, yeah, you thought you're gonna have a freaking like crazy big year? All right, just wait. Just hold my phone. Just wait. And then next thing you know, it just went and like and I swear I don't even recognize where I'm at here and now today with my 2 feet in South freaking Florida. I never would have guessed where I would have ended up in December of this year. So let me know if you had a similar experience. Did you have like a let's fucking go? Like I'm ready to just like, jumpstart and like launch off this year and then got like surprised? Or did you know already intuitively, like, I'm just going to take it slow. I'm going to see what happens. You're a little bit more cautious, a little bit more skeptical. And then shit started to pop off and you're like, I knew it. Let me know what was going on in your world in the beginning of 2024 because I want to hear about it. Danielle, just being in your energy draws me in. Oh, thank you, my love. I see more people are still coming in. I want to understand what the fuck is happening in these planets and okay, what's happening in the world? How can I bring healing and global and local community? I love that, Sarah. Yes, that's exactly what we're going to be discussing, especially with the North Node in Pisces. That's going to be big. Julianne says, these comments. I feel most astrological events quite intensively. My life has been extremely challenging over the last 6 years. 2024 was a bit of a tower moment for me. Okay, I see you, Crystal. I feel like the tower moment happened for me too. I have to say, like that was it was intense. It was intense for quite a bit. Like that mid-year, it was definitely starting to feel a little bit like Dark Nights of the Soul. And I haven't felt that in a really long time. Like I think that that was why it just kind of like surprised me was how much I just have not felt that. And I was like, wow, okay, we're here. Total void, surrender. Like, let's go. I already knew 2024 was going to be ugly. Was getting my feet back under me. I love that, Heidi. My Christmas gift was from the universe in 2023 was my apartment. Yes, I feel like that's like exactly where I'm at right now. I needed to have the roots. The roots is important when it comes to feeling secure and stable, especially when we're trying to grow, we're trying to scale. I love this. Hi, Jessica. I just started a post about this yesterday. Yes, I love that. 2024, I told myself I was stepping back from most things and focusing on my home. That's what I did. It was the break that I needed. I love that, Brooke. I'm ready to step back out into the world and serve. Alea says, my word for the year was perception. I love that. Does anyone else remember their word for the year? I feel like you always make it, and then it's like, what the heck was the word again? I was just being the hermit, Alea says, seeing things with different awareness. My friend was saying the same thing, learning acceptance of things that are out of your control, shedding anger. I love that. Yes, we're going to talk about that. 2024 was build. Okay, Calliope, I see that for you. Transformation. I love that. My word was commit. And it was a very interesting, like, what the heck did I commit to? Like, of course, I know I've committed to many things, but when things just change so rapidly, and it's like, it almost feels like any commitments that you had to just be adaptable to them. You had to just like roll with the punches and not be so caught up on like deadlines or anything of that sort. So I definitely committed to myself. I definitely committed to this move that I made. I of course committed to my growth and my healing. So yeah, I think I was thinking it was going to be more business related, but I have to say that that definitely changed throughout the year. Jessica, 100%, I was on top of the world, and then Q2 shit hit the fan. Okay, yeah. Absolutely. All right, my loves. Oh, Wanda, 2024 was gaga. Oh gosh. Yes, yes. Big unexpected healing. Yes, I remember that. Sarah, I'm so happy I was able to support you through that. Okay, yeah. I love this. That's something to remember when it comes to your word, my loves. Okay. If we're going to be creating words for the new year, please, like Heidi said it best, she's like, they are lessons. And I loved when you said that, Heidi, because that's kind of what happens, right? Like we start to almost create this almost, I guess, contract with the universe. Like, yeah, I'm declaring that's my word. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to be invited with every single possible thing that's going to represent and mirror that word in some way. So, yeah, that's where, like, when we think of words like surrender, okay, the universe will probably give you plenty of reasons to surrender, right? So, we have to just kind of think about that. I know that I chose my word for 2025 to be wellness, and I felt like that was pretty safe. It's pretty neutral, where it's like, okay, I'm going to definitely be focusing on my well being, mind, body, and spirit for 2025. Oh, I love that, Kristen. Your word is clarity. That's beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to keep the chat open on my phone just so that I don't miss anything. But we are going to start the screen sharing. So I do have a presentation for everybody. And I want everyone to know that you're going to get the notes for everything. And I'm sorry, I totally said that we were going to do multiple introductions. Wilda and Michaela are going to be a part of this event. We are going to be on a panel together. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give them, if they'd like, just like a minute or so to just introduce themselves, because I know that I can definitely introduce like why I was drawn to them. And if they want my like Leo moon to feed them some affirmations and like help them feel seen and feel loved, I could do that. But at the end of the day, I think the best thing is for them to just like be the ones to introduce who they are. And I think it's important for us to recognize like why I did this. I definitely wanted to, of course, create this experience from my own channeled perspective, because that's the way that I roll. Like, I'm very intuitive when it comes to, channeling for the cosmos. But I think that Pluto being an Aquarius and Jupiter being in Gemini, I was like, listen, this is not just about what I think and what my perception of what's going on is. We need to get all hands on deck. Like, I was like, we need to bridge minds. We need to collaborate. Enough talking about it, more being about it, like sharing the spotlight. We need to start brainstorming together. We need to start creating in a co creative space. We need to stop acting like we know it all, because I'm sorry, but we don't. Okay. Like, that's just ego talking, baby. Like, we don't know it all. And I'm not going to sit here and claim that I know every single thing that's going to happen in 2025, because I think that at the end of the day, we know that Pluto has been in Aquarius for the last 10 minutes. And I don't think I could have predicted that drones were going to be flying in the freaking sky and aliens were in the ocean. All right. Like, I don't think that like my mind does that. All right. Like, some people may know that. I don't know that shit. So I'm just going to be very real with you guys. Okay. I'm going to be talking about some of these things from the best of my knowledge, my wisdom, and my intuition. And then, of course, when it comes to hearing even the same transit through a different person's lens, right? Through their language, through their channel, through their interpretations, it just becomes such a beautiful conversation. And then we're bouncing off of one another. So, day 2 and day 3, you're going to definitely be hearing more from Wilda and more from Michaela. And just to give everyone a heads up, we're all Mercury in Pisces. So you're all going to go on like a little trance. It's going to be a freaking ride. And I promise you, it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's probably going to feel like Alice in Wonderland for a little bit. It's going to be great. So you're just going to have to buckle in, because we're just going to take you on a journey. Okay. So, Wilda, I see that you're here. So if you want to introduce yourself and just, let people know who you are, what your magic is, and
Let the people know. So hello, hello, and welcome to the almost 20, girl, you pulled 20 people in here. That is amazing. Souls that are here with us to say goodbye to a really interesting kind of unexpected year. Like Danielle, I know, well, unlike Danielle, I did not go into 2024 thinking it was going to be my year. I just knew, oh, okay, Pluto's going to be in my fourth house. I use whole sign houses if you guys care. If you don't know what that means, it's okay. And I'm like, a cardinal house. At the root base of my life. Great, cool, sure. Now, no problem. Bring up all the childhood trauma. I'm with it. And so I just knew that this year was going to be transformational, because of all the things or whatnot. But I always have big expectations. I have a Sagittarius second house, so everything is through the lens of optimism. But, let's be real. We live in a very tangible, material world, and so anything can happen. And now we have people who are in office who maybe should not be in office. And so that can definitely throw anything on the bingo table. So we don't know what that looks like. But one of my favorite transits, believe it or not, is not even the Pluto in Aquarius, just because it's going to be so long term. And just because I believe that Pluto is such a psychological planet and it is going to change the collective mindset, what that looks like, I'm not sure. Today, we're going to talk about aliens. Next year, we're going to talk about wealth. I hope so. But when I look at Pluto in Aquarius, I think that, to be honest with you, we all, I think when one word that comes up for me is collective therapy. And I think that Pluto is very deep. It's very again, psyche focused, if you will. And so we're going to really hone in on what mental wellness looks like. I think you mentioned wellness a little bit earlier. And so I love the fact that the nodes are going to be on the axis of health and wellness as well. So I'm looking forward to what technological advancements and also what natural medicines we are going to go back to help us to understand our traumas, our histories in the body, right? In our cells better, and what that looks like. Who knows if we're able to take the information that we have so far from the from all of the genetic testing, and now they have the nutritional genetic testing, things like that, and what that looks like for us to not rely on Ozempic. No offense to anyone, no shade, I promise, but more so, hey, we have these ways of really claiming ourselves and really getting really, really deep healing in a way that feels embodied and well and good for us, right? So again, no shade. But my transit that I'm looking forward to, honestly, I am scared as shit, is the is the Saturn Neptune transit, because when I think about that, it feels Saturn is boundaries and structure, and then Neptune dissolves everything. So I'm kind of like, what in the Great Wall of Berlin is going on? I don't know. Is it gonna go upward? I'm not sure. So I'm looking forward to what that looks like. I'm excited, but I'm in Aries, so maybe I'm a little bit scared, but I don't know. She's like, oh yeah, come back. I'm coming back up. Yay. Oh, so she can show us. Awesome. And so I look forward to that, because that's a really interesting transit. Saturn is 2.5 years in a sign, and so there's going to be maybe the structure and the boundaries that we need, and then Neptune is here to maybe make it all fluid in a way that feels spiritual. I have no idea. We'll see. So I'm looking forward to that. But why astrology and why am I here? I don't know. Danielle saw something, but I'm really interested in how astrology can help the collective to heal. But more specifically, I am so jazzed about, pumped up about how to see a family through a cluster of stars. I call you guys this constellation. And so here are my little star here. He's a Leo rising. And so I think about how I see a family and how I see healing that can happen. And it's really fascinating when you pull your chart and your mothers and your fathers and your parents and your great grandparents and your children, if you have any, and you see all of your people, not just linearly, but you see them through the stars, and you're like, wow, there's a connection of why there are so many. On my husband's side, there's a lot of Cancer energy. I'm like, what are we learning in terms of nurturing? On my mother's side, there is a lot of fixed energy. So I'm like, ooh, we are stubborn. So it's interesting to see how the energies play out. Who am I, my role in all of this, and what it is that I can do. And so now I'm teaching my kids astrology, and I'm like, ooh, I'm raising little witches and warlocks, and I'm like, I love it, because I believe that we really can heal through the stars. And so my job is to show you how your chart can facilitate in that, and how you're not alone ever. You are born into a family, regardless of whether you know them or not. Even if you're adopted, it's all and fostered. All of that is shown in your chart, and the people in your life can show you how it is that your constellation is moving through up and through the stars to get the healing that you guys need. So that's my jam.
I love that so much. And what's your son's name?
Well, I'm like, which one? This one, he's Lucas. You know what's interesting? So we talk about intuition. I'm going to veer off a little bit. And I always say it's really interesting, because it's like every child, I become more and more intuitive. And my children name themselves, and I don't name them. I just, I pick up and I see what's going on, and I can pick up on the patterns. Kid you not, I started to see the name Lucas all over movies. And I would see them my kids brought home a book, and the character was named Lucas. I was watching 2 movies. One character was named Lucas, and then I was like scrolling through TikTok or something like that, and I saw Lucas. I'm like, all right, buddy, fine, that's your name. And so it's interesting because they name themselves, and so that's the kind of intuitive wisdom I bring into the work that I do, helping people to just get down really deep into their body, quiet the noise, so that you can hear that there are messages happening all the time if we get off of the noise. So this is Lucas, and he is a Leo rising, Cancer moon. Cancer sun. So I'm like, 12th house Cancer, too much collective energy. What is that? So we'll see what that looks like. And I have 2 Cancer risings. My husband's mother is a Cancer. My husband's seventh house is a Cancer. And I'm like, and I'm a Cancer North Node. I'm like, what is that? So lots of healing, lots of sabotaging.
We're gonna be talking a lot about Cancer energy next year, my loves. We're gonna be discussing this. So thank you, Wilda, and hi, Luca. Thank you for being here.
Say hi.
Michaela, my love, if you want to just quickly introduce yourself, let us know what you're excited about for this event and what your magic is. I'm just going to.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay? Perfect. Sorry that I'm not on camera. I am packing orders and I look crazy while doing so. However, hi, I'm Michaela Rose. I've been an astrologer professionally for, I think this is my 5th year coming up. I own a spiritual boutique called Gift from Neptune because Neptune's probably like one of my favorite planets. I feel like it's very underrated in regard to, like, people always think it's delusion or escapism, but I feel like it's truth without, like, at its core, without the veil. And then the veil we place over it is based on our perception, which is why it's like labeled delusion. Anyway, that's a rant, another rant within itself. But so that's what I was doing right now. But I am super excited for, just to chit chat with my Mercury and Pisces homegirls. And I'm really excited for like all the outer planet shifts in the upcoming year. Excited for like how mainly Uranus and Gemini is one of the big ones that I've been looking at because of how like we process information, how this transit goes with AI and just the boom of technology and like how we are positioning ourselves. And I'm also excited for um like the ending of Saturn in Pisces going into Saturn in Aries and just like how the new leaders will step up. And it's just a lot going on next year that I'm super excited to talk with my fellow homegirls about. So thank you so much for having me, Danielle, and I look forward to it.
Yes, thank you, my loves. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely gonna be, like I said, just some rants. Like we're just gonna have to roll with the punches, all right? We're yappers, all right? That's what Mercury and Pisces are. Like we love to yap, and then we need like the side story to get to the full story, and then we have this story, and then we forget what we said, and then we're like, I'll come back, I'll come back. So with that being said, I keep myself in check by having a presentation for y'all. So what I wanted to say before I started the presentation is you are going to get all the notes from everything that we discuss in this week, okay? Everything is going to be in a PDF form. It's going to be downloadable. And that includes all the journal prompts, that includes all the, astrology notes, the dates. You're going to get it, okay? So I don't want anyone to feel like you can't be present. Of course, you can take your own notes. I definitely advise once we get to the reflections of today specifically that you do have a journal with you or just like something you can like write on. But of course, again, if you just would rather be present and maybe just like hang out in the chat, answer the questions in the chat, like this is 100% on you, on whatever feels the most supportive to you. I don't want you to feel like you have to remember everything or that you're going to miss anything. Okay. So let's get this day started. So 2025, year ahead. So just a little housekeeping. Like I said, today we're going to be reflecting on 2024 through an astrological lens. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about some of the major themes of what 2024 was. Now, of course, I just listed as many as I could. I'm sure that you can think of many more, but I kind of just combined all of the big things that happened this year, and I tried my best to make it in a cohesive, listed manner. We're going to do a little bit of a releasing, and this is going to be more of an energetic releasing. However, I am going to have some reflective journal prompts for you girls as well when it comes to just really getting our minds right of like, again, checking in. Where are we now? What were some of the biggest lessons? What were some challenges? What am I proud of myself for? All of those type of deeper questions that I really invite you to, go there, like don't just like skip over it. Don't skim it. Don't like be over the surface. Like if you want to come back to these questions, especially for like the solstice or maybe even like New Year's time, whatever like ways you want to return back to this, I think it would be really helpful for you. Okay. Again, day 2 and day 3, we're going to be deep diving into the major transits of next year. Now, I chose the 6 major transits. Of course, there are a lot of transits that happen even just in 1 month, 1 week, because we're talking about, the planets that can be in relationship with one another as well. So I did my best to just talk about some of the bigger ones that are, again, a lot of outer planets that are going to be changing signs, and they're all happening in like the first 7 months of the year. So we're gonna have a good little jump start of 2025. So we're gonna be talking about the eclipses, Mars retrograde, that's going to be beginning of the year, which we're already in now, but we're going to be specifically talking about Mars retrograde in Cancer because that's going to be the first 2 months. We're going to be talking about Neptune and Saturn in Aries, like Will just said. That's like something that she's thinking about since she's in Aries. Uranus, that's going to enter Gemini, and Jupiter, that's going to enter Cancer. We're also going to discuss how some of these planets are only going to enter new signs for like short periods of time. So 2025 is going to bring a lot of foreshadowing for 2026 and beyond. So we also have to recognize like what that can mean. Okay. Like there's going to be a lot of change. Yes. But when it comes to really like knowing the full picture and like what that's going to mean over time, this is where we sometimes like just get little astrological clues. It gives us a little glimpse of things, but it's not always going to be very clear on like exactly how it's all going to turn out at the end. Okay. So that's important to know, especially with a lot of these planets like Neptune and Saturn that are going to be in Aries. Like we're going to be talking about like that's the beginning of something, right? Like that's an initiation of something, a new chapter. So we're definitely going to be talking about the dates of when this is going to be going on, when things are going to be retrograding back into the signs that they are in now, and just like what does that even mean, right? When we're talking about a transition and then a retrograde, like what's that going to feel like? And then, of course, we're going to dive a little bit into the history of things. Like, it's not going to be a history lesson, but we are going to give some context clues of like the last time Neptune was in Aries, it was the Civil War, things like that. But, when it comes to understanding how these cycles work, that's how astrologers make predictions in the first place. Like, we have to like look at what's happened before and start like, comparing it to current events as best as we can, because at the end of the day, it's always going to be a little bit like based off patterns, right? Like that's why astrology can sometimes feel very predictable. That's why as an astrologer, I'm never surprised anymore because which is like sometimes it still can like knock me off my ass, but there are moments where I'm like, wow, that was so predictable, right? So this is where, we're going to be talking about some of these patterns that may be showing up based off of the themes and based off the planets. Just make sure that everyone is muted, please. We're going to be talking about the signs that are impacted the most. You're going to get a goal setting prompt for each transit. Then again, guest astrologer panel with Michaela and Wilda. When it comes to the questions that you girls are going to be able to ask, we're going to keep it pretty general. All right. So I'm going to definitely always make sure that we have time for questions at the end of the session.
Over here, Bryce. Come on.
Oh, hold on. Let me make sure that we are all muted.
Come.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, I can't see it. Okay, thank you. But when it comes to your birth chart questions, we're just gonna keep that to a minimal, okay? Just to like honor everyone's time. We wanna make sure that these questions are going to make sense for everybody, okay? So let's get started. So again, I just kind of took some of the major themes that I could think of when it comes to what the transits were doing in 2024, and I listed them as best as I could, okay? So the first thing that we need to know is the North Node, we're always going to want to follow where the North Node is for the year. The North Node gives us the focus area, right? It tells us, okay, where are we growing this year? How are we meant to, what are some of the themes that we're going to be aligning with so that we can be in the right places at the right time. And I think it's important that we know the North Node was in Aries. So Aries is about the self, it's about identity. And that's why this year felt like so much growth when it comes to who am I? What do I want? And what actions am I taking to really match the person that I am at my core? Who I am authentically, not who other people perceive me to be, not what other people want me to be, not who I think I should be, not who my mother taught me to be. No, who am I? That was the biggest question of the year. And when we think about how we shape our identity, other than inner child and conditioning and our environment and our relationships and who we grow up with, but we also attach it. Our ego attaches it to certain things outside of ourselves. It can be a job. It could be what you wanted to be when you grew up. It could be the degree that you got in college. It could be you being a mother because, you have children. It could be taking care of a sick grandparent. Like, we start to kind of create our identities based off of these roles. Obviously, it could also be a lot of entrepreneurs are in here. It could be your title that you have when it comes to your business, your offerings that you have in your business. We start to attach ourselves to certain things. This was the year that there was a lot of growth on a soul level that you may have been questioning your attachments to some of these things. So a lot of identity initiations were happening, a lot of needing to release the attachments to the ego and really needing to step into that Aries courage, that Aries boldness, that sense of newness. Again, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's about a new chapter, a new beginning. And usually that is like a leap of faith. Like, that's not something that is going to be, oh, I know exactly what I'm jumping into next, or I know exactly what the outcome is. Aries is just a go-getter. Aries is based off of like its ambition and its drive and its inspiration. But if we are kind of being challenged by the North Node to embody that, that's where it can feel almost like, okay, but where is my fire? Right? Like, we also had Chiron in Aries this year. There was a lot of healing when it comes to almost like missing that spark, missing that sense of drive, missing that feeling of like, oh, I'm on fire, let's freaking go. A lot of people thought that the North Node in Aries was just going to be like this, let's just do it all. When in reality, Chiron was a major part of this year. And Chiron was a part of the eclipses in Aries. Chiron was a major piece of where we were healing a lot within, like, if you did too much, if you put your system in overdrive. I put burnout recovery on here for a reason, because put it in the comments, like, if you really had to check in with yourself and you're like, I need to slow the fuck down, right? I need to slow down. I have to stop thinking that I'm Superwoman. I can't do it all. Especially if you are someone like me who does a lot on her own, because I have my Venus in Aries, baby. So, I was taught to be independent. And there's also the shadow of hyper independence when I think that I can do it all by myself. And I got humbled really freaking quick, where I was like, no, I can't, right? So there's moments here where that North Node in Aries alone taught us a lot of lessons. And there were a lot of ways that, of course, that showed up in the collective with a lot of the things that were happening, across the world, the wars that were happening. I put here the wounded masculine, the wounded ego, these people of power, these, authority figures, as you can speak, who are just like, sometimes they're basing things off of very like impulsive, reactive behavior. Right. And like, that's the shadow of Aries. And I think that we saw that, and we're witnessing horrors. We're witnessing violence. We're witnessing things that are very unjust. We were witnessing, you know, things that were going on even beyond just like the war. Like there were, you know, natural disasters that were happening this year. There were things that felt very kind of like things were combusting, right? Like it felt like things were almost just like it didn't, whatever didn't have its structure anymore, or was like kind of like on its last legs for whatever reason, needed to fall. Like that's that tower moment, right? So that's the part where, again, just knowing where the North Node is for the year is life changing. And so that alone very much created that the first couple of lines with the identity initiations, the big bold action into the new. But also on the opposite side, we had the South Node in Libra. And that's where we were changing our relationships, right? That's where we were desiring peace, desiring a ceasefire, desiring harmony with one another, desiring connection, and feeling like so much is disconnected, or there's division, or, you know, we're just trying to even protect our own sense of peace, our own, you know, inner world of like, okay, it's a little overstimulating with the North Node in Aries. So I need to like rebalance and reharmonize my own world here. I can't be like out in the open all the time. And so that's where I, you know, was really focusing on. A lot of people did go on a little bit of a hermit journey this year, myself included. That was also an account of Saturn being in Pisces. You know, when Michaela said she can't wait for Saturn to leave Pisces, amen, girl. I cannot wait, because Saturn, it was in a sign that it was like technically its home sign. It was in Capricorn and it was in Aquarius for like what, 6 to 7 years, more or less. So when we're talking about Saturn leaving a sign that it feels really strong in to going into Pisces, Saturn is so lost in the sauce in Pisces right now. I mean, pretty much any planet other than like maybe Venus and Jupiter and Neptune, but even Neptune can get lost in the sauce too. It's gonna feel like really weird in the sign of Pisces, because Pisces doesn't have any form, it doesn't have any boundaries, it doesn't have anything that's tangible or material. It's literally just our psyche, it's our subconscious, it's our connection, it's our intuition, it's our creativity. So, and it's very deep emotions. So Saturn, which is about structure and discipline, and, you know, it's a very critical type of planet. You know, Saturn is where we're very hard on ourselves, and he wants us to work. He wants us to like get our freaking skin in the game. Like, come on, let's go. He reminds us of the things that we are responsible for. He reminds us of taking accountability for ourselves and like kind of growing up. And there was a lot of growing pains while Saturn was in Pisces, because it lifted what was beyond the veil. It showed us a lot of things that were hidden for a very long time. We saw it, we witnessed all the people getting arrested, we saw all the things, we were like, what the actual F is going on? Because that's what Saturn was was the reality check in a way. So because of that, we had a major collective spiritual awakening, and we started to understand and check in with ourselves. What the hell is actually important to me? What is real? What is not real? What is truth? Right? And I love that Michaela said that Neptune is like a planet of truth, because you're absolutely right. You know, when we're really tapping in to our inner selves, and like Wilda said, we're quieting the noise and we're allowing ourselves to listen, then of course we can get deeper truths. But that was the challenge. That was the real work of Saturn being in Pisces. Now, of course, Saturn can also be building and discipline towards our dreams, which is what Pisces can be. I just want to make sure that I'm okay. Yeah, that I'm not missing anyone who wants to come in. But that felt even harder when we're also going through a lot of emotional energy, and we need to regulate our emotions, and we need to think about our mental health, and those types of things in question. Whenever that's in question, your capacity is naturally going to just, we don't have the same capacity. Okay. So this is where compassion, self-forgiveness, forgiveness for others, really just giving yourself grace for what occurred this year, especially if you've been hard on yourself and you're like, damn, like I thought that I was going to be in such a different place. Please like recognize like there was a lot of transition. There was a lot of things that disrupted our foundation. You know, I don't know about you. I'm a millennial. Like I saw a lot of shit that completely just like bamboozled my childhood. I'm like, damn, like the music industry is fucked. The movies are like, I was just like, I don't know what's real and what's not. The only thing that gave me hope this year was Lindsay Lohan. I was like, yeah, she's back. She's sober. But that was another thing that was a very big theme of 2024 was sobriety. And I said that for Saturn being in Pisces. I'm like, a lot of people are going to start to check in with their vices, with their relationship with addiction, their relationship with escapism, their relationship with procrastinating, or any type of like avoidance of any kind. If we're avoiding ourselves, if we're avoiding like really asking ourselves these deeper questions, then it's only going to be a matter of time that something is going to occur on a karmic level that's going to force us to look at these things. So shout out if you've been to therapy this year because you're already ahead of the game. Okay. Shout out if you've been doing your healing work, if you've been doing your inner child work. Shout out if you've been not avoiding some of these things that needed to happen. Okay. Because again, and it's okay if I noticed myself, I did get into a disassociative state. There were moments where I'll be real, like I was smoking a lot of weed and I was like, okay, Danielle, like you are not actually in a good mindset. Like you are fogging up your mind. And then I was getting really down on myself. I was getting really depressed because I just was not feeling grounded. I was not feeling grounded. So I needed to check in with my Pisces self, like, girl, you need to stop. Okay, you need to get your head back in the game, like cut some of these things out, start creating some boundaries. That's also very Saturn. And like, again, I just needed to kind of sober myself up in my own way. So shout out if you've been on a sober journey as well. The relationship with anger, someone said that earlier, that was also the North Node in Chiron and Aries. That shows us the shadow of where we need to defend ourselves, where maybe we've been holding on to too much and now it's like in an explosive way coming out all at once. When it comes to, again, what's fair was a big, big, big thing, especially in relationships this year. Is this reciprocal? Is this one-sided? So, after a while, like if we're hurt and we're coming from like a space of feeling wounded, and that's totally valid, obviously we needed to learn, okay, how am I supposed to confront this situation? How am I meant to, speak up and use my voice and not just back down, not be taken advantage of here? So there was a lot related to, kind of a lot of throat chakra work, a lot of throat chakra work. And then, yeah, at the end, we recognize like, okay, so much happens. So we're just going to have to come back to these root chakra foundational basics, whether that's in your wellness and your health and your self-care journey, whether that's in like your healing and these deeper questions and like your inner child work or energy work or whatever you do, or if it's within your business. It's like, okay, I'm just going to refine some things. I'm going to really simplify this process. I'm going to stop making this so complicated. And I'm going to really, create some stability here just from like mastering the basics so that I can rebuild and grow and scale from a place that feels very sustainable and good to my system. And to me, that's where, when it comes to redefining abundance, redefining security, ethical leadership, obviously that kind of goes with discernment and all the awakenings that's beyond the veil. But the ethical leadership is also being in integrity and being in your most authentic truth. So there were moments where I had to just let people know, like, I don't have the space. I don't have the space today. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to, take some time off social media. I, deleted the apps off my phone. These types of things to me is like, that is ethical leadership in a way where I'm like, I need to make sure that I am not self-sacrificing my values and what is best, but also kind of just like, being that person who's like, I can't do it all. I'm only human, right? And there's parts of that where, of course, the other piece of ethical leadership is where we need to say no to certain things. We need to, again, stand up for certain things. We need to be activists for certain truths that we believe. And that's completely everyone's journey. It's not to say that that's everyone's role, but I do feel like that was a major, major piece of what may have been brought to your attention this year of like, who is an ethical leader and, who is just out for themselves. So I am going to look at some of these comments. Yeah, this list is pretty spot on. Yeah. I'm living on my Chiron line. Yeah, Crystal. Yeah, I'm happy you're moving. Yep, my body forced me to slow down. Half of my face was literally paralyzed this year. I was doing too much. Yes. Yes. Investing in rest. I love that. Oh, Joanne, yeah, I'm excited to see that for your year ahead reading with the North Node that you've been in a nodal return. And that's a big one. 6 months therapy, 12 months sober. I'm so proud of you, Calliope. 12 months in therapy. Yes. The relationship with anger was a big one for me. It ended with me watching Elementals for the first time. Boy, did that come full circle. I love that. Yes, generational trauma healing. Yeah, absolutely. So again, these are just like some bigger umbrellas, and then we can kind of go into what's underneath that. But I think it's important for you to maybe just, revisit this list on your own and, explore it in your own way of like, okay, yeah, like identity initiations. Like, that's such a big, big, big theme. It's like, what does that even mean for you when it comes to some of the things that you released this year? And again, who you are today, right here and right now. And we're going to be kind of doing some of that together when we're dropping in when we're doing the releasing ceremony. So I just kind of gave a little bit of a like timeline of January through December based off of the actual big transits. Now, again, there are a lot of things that happened this year. So I just based it off of what I knew were some of the biggies. Okay. And again, I told you that January started off with a bang. Okay. I think like it was literally the first day that Mercury just got out of retrograde from the end of 2023. So, we literally started the first day as like, okay, like now we're kind of, it's almost like we just did this whole reevaluation and now we're kind of like getting back on track, right? Like that's what the retrogrades always teach us, especially like the day that it either is going to station retrograde or station direct. It's always going to be felt the most. So, we had a big start to this year. A lot of, trying to define our vision of what we want and how to get there. I mean, I think that that's kind of the name of any game when we're trying to set out goals for ourselves, but especially with Pluto leaving Capricorn and entering Aquarius, that's happened 3 times. And this was the second time in the beginning of this year. And when that happened, we have to understand what Capricorn and Aquarius is. Capricorn, again, is like, it's our sense of structure. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of systems that are in place, a lot of kind of pressure that we put on ourselves. It's business, it's money, it's security, it's all of these things. And when it enters Aquarius, it changes drastically. So that's why I said vision and strategy, because the vision for what you're doing and what you're desiring was bound to evolve. It was supposed to evolve. And that was the part that was probably like a big, I guess, ego death in a way of like, okay, this is not working anymore. It's literally like on its last legs. I can't like keep returning back to that anymore. It doesn't resonate with me anymore. Blah, blah, blah. I need to like go back to the drawing board. I need to make sure that it feels authentic to my values and what I want. And again, the strategy, the approach is going to be very different from Capricorn to Aquarius. So we experienced that. And then in February, we had that North Node that was right near Chiron. And that became the story of the eclipses in the spring. And again, that was huge for our healing path. Then we had those eclipses in Aries and Libra, a lot of relationships, a lot of marriages, a lot of custody battles, a lot of court cases with people. I pretty much saw it all. And so, when people are experiencing these things, it's bound to feel like, okay, I need to, really regroup. I need to regroup. And I think that there was a lot that happened, especially in April, where people were like, it was this major pivot. And the only way I can describe it was it felt like a timeline jump, because at the end of April, we had Jupiter. Whatever Jupiter touches, it expands. Jupiter is a very expansive planet. Jupiter was right near Uranus. Uranus is a planet of like, what's in our future? So that's why I said, like, it's a timeline jump. Okay. Like, this isn't about what's here and now. Taurus wants things to feel the same. It's secure. I know exactly what's happening next. Uranus was like, no, the fuck you don't. And then it just went, we literally were like in a rocket ship from April forward. Okay. And that's where it can definitely feel disruptive to our system, and where I feel like a lot of people were regulating to the new normal in a way, the new timeline, starting from April forward. And of course, then it just kept going. So Jupiter changes signs. Jupiter changed into Gemini, and it's still in Gemini now. And so that, of course, shifted our mindset. It shifted what we're learning, our network, our social circles. And we had to redefine abundance, because Jupiter in Taurus was a lot more of like material, yes, but also like nature, and it was a little bit more grounded. And Gemini is just not. Gemini is very mental. It can feel very overwhelmed. It could be scattered, but also at the same time, it could be a little bit more free spirited. It can be a lot of fun. It could be, just really exploring like what you like and your different interests and your hobbies. And that doesn't have to have anything to do with work. It doesn't have to have anything to do with anyone else either. It could just be you with your books, or with like your little quirks or little things that you like to do in your free time. And that could also be Gemini. So there was a lot there that we were starting to do some soul searching around the people we're hanging around, and what do I want to learn? What are my interests? Who am I? Like, we're very multidimensional. So Jupiter and Gemini kind of created that. But, again, Jupiter, it doesn't really like to be in Gemini. So it was starting to feel a little overwhelmed as well. We had 2 full moons in a row that were in Capricorn. We already know what happened with that when it comes to, one president stepping down and a new one stepping in. Or president-elect, I should say. So that was a big one when it comes to leadership, and also when it comes to just needing to reevaluate ourselves in our businesses as well. July was also a big month. We had Mars conjunct Uranus. That was also needing to let go. Another timeline jump, but it was more like needing to kind of nurture and make sure that we're rebuilding for ourselves and not just for everybody else. August was probably one of the bigger months. I feel like August was a big month for a lot of people, where it was almost like, not to say it was the final straw, but like there was a lot that happened in August that I think kind of from that point forward, people started to actually start getting clarity. August felt like a time where people were just trying to get back on their feet. They were adapting. But yeah, it was a lot going on at once. September was one of the months where I'm going to really invite you to think about once we get to like the North Node in Pisces when we talk about that, because that was a foreshadowing. It was on September 17th. So if you write down any day, we're going to be talking about it. September 17th is a day I'm going to invite you to like look back on what was going on in your life around that time. That gave a little bit of like the foreshadowing for the new year. Just want to make sure. Okay. We have the October eclipse was the final eclipse in Libra. We had November was a big month, as we know, especially for America, but in general, Pluto finally entered Aquarius for good. It did this opposition to Mars. There was a lot of power dynamics. That was definitely a moment of needing to protect our peace and really see like who our people are. And I think that was really hard. And then now where we are is, we're in this Mars retrograde. So we are slowing down. It is winter on this side of, the northern hemisphere. But it's like, we're needing to really be intentional with how we're starting 2025. We need to make sure that we're diffusing any of these shoulds of what we're supposed to be doing. Of course, there can be frustration, there could be anger, there could be conflicts, things that we're overcoming, but also things that we're conquering, things that we can be proud of, things that we can, really like revisit of like, yeah, okay, I want to finish that thing. I don't want to start something new. I want to finish what I started. So I think this is going to be a really great like preparation for what 2025 is going to bring for us. But it's up to us on really prioritizing and making sure that we're not trying to bite off more than we can chew, and really checking in with like what your body needs right now, and not just what your mind is telling you what you need to do. It's more like, are you listening to your body? Okay, because Mars can definitely, it can burn out pretty quickly when it's in retrograde. Okay, so we want to be intentional, make sure that whatever you're doing, it is filling your cup, and that if for any reason you're in a position that you feel really spread too thin, that you're being easy on yourself and you're resting as best as you can, you're nourishing your body with really good yummy foods, and that you are, again, not overcommitting to too much at once, because the Mars retrograde is about intentional action. Okay. So yeah, I'm curious if there's any months that stood out the most to anyone. It says September was the worst. September, we got hit with adrenal fatigue. Calliope. I love you so much. Yeah, he did. That's so funny. Yeah, so I can tell you that, um, June was hard. It was the end of May, beginning of June that completely changed my life. I mean, don't get me wrong, the beginning of the year was hard for me too. That those eclipses in the spring were just really like uprooting. For those who don't know, like I was looking for a home, I was in a relationship, I was trying so hard. Like it sucks when you know the astrology of things, and I'm like, there's going to be tests and challenges within relationships. It doesn't mean that like everyone broke up, like there's people that are still married. There are people who had like incredible years with their partners, people had babies, people got married. Like there's things that still absolutely occurred. But I was definitely in a position where I was like, oh gosh, okay, I really hope that we can work together and that we can figure it out. And we were trying to find a place. And, there was just a lot of like things that felt like it was, my root chakra was completely dysregulated. All of my things were in boxes. I had all of my stuff in my car, just kind of waiting for a home to land in and to unpack. So in the spring, I was bouncing from Airbnb to Airbnb, and it was just like a mess. Like I felt very like uprooted, and I'm a South Node in Cancer, and I'm noticing that like I need a home. I also have my Chiron in Cancer. So if I don't have that sense of comfort, it's really going to be harsh on me. So yeah, so I've been like really searching for that place that feels like home. And I did find it, but the turning point was when we split up in the middle of the year. And I think that the summer was a healing girl summer for me. And then telling you, timeline jumps, like it happened so quickly to get the invitation to come here to move into this apartment in South Florida. And then, now I live with my best friend and we're having a blast. Like this is literally the most abundant place I could have ever landed. And I'm so grateful. But, at the end of the day, like if I was to really think about it, I feel like June was a big month for me. And then September was a big, big, big month for me. So beautiful. December. Yes. I love this. Mid-September was the time I intentionally chose to stop hiding, get out of my comfort zone. I love that. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay. So we're going to drop in, my loves. We're on time too. I did it. I did it. So this gorgeous picture taken by Calliope. If you don't know her, you need to connect with her. So we're just going to drop in. I know that I just gave a lot of information. And, it's good when we're in these transitional places where we can really just put our feet on the floor and we can check in with our breath. We can slow down our speech a little bit, talking to my Mars and Gemini, who talks miles per minute sometimes. So when you're ready, you can get in a comfortable position. This is not going to take too long. It's just going to be a really nice way to clear the energy, to really just ground the energy and just start reminiscing. So when you're ready, we can, again, just get in a nice, comfortable place, putting your feet on the floor or laying down, whatever feels good for you. I always like to close my eyes, so I'm going to close my eyes. If you'd like to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your womb, your sacral, your belly. And we can just take a nice deep inhale in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Again, inhale, just nourishing your body with all of that oxygen, just checking in with any sensations you're feeling in your body, if you're holding any tension in any certain areas of your body. Remember, you don't have to sit still either. When you're breathing in, when you're breathing out, you can move around, you can drop your shoulders, you can readjust. When you take an exhale, allow that exhale to travel all the way down. We're carrying so much within our shoulders. We're carrying so much of our thoughts. There's so much that's going on, like from the shoulders up. We need to just descend. Allow that exhale to be traveling all the way down to your root, the base of your spine. Allow that exhale to travel all the way down to your feet, the bottom of your feet, of the earth, just really connecting. Allowing your breath to just naturally inhale and exhale at its own pace. And just really allow yourself to affirm, I am here. I made it. It's the end of 2024. It's another year completed. And you did that. So just allow yourself to land in that. There's nowhere else that you have to be right now. Everything else is going to be right there when you're done. Just allowing yourself to slowly drift into your breath. Release the tension in your forehead. Release the tension in your jaw. Release the tension in your shoulders. If you want to do an audible sigh, I definitely recommend it. Just let it go. Taking a nice deep inhale. And sigh it out. Just let it go. Sometimes we need to give it a voice. We need to give it texture. We need to give it sound. Allow all of that emotion that you're carrying in your chest, just let it go. All of these different memories, these different experiences, everything that brought you to here and now, just let it go. It is safe for you to be here just as you are. It is safe for you to be present with your breath just as you are. It is safe to let go just as you are. So just breathing in with that affirmation, feeling your heartbeat start to slow down, feeling the warmth beneath your hand on your belly, tuning into your womb, tuning into this power center, this creative portal, infinite potential that you are. Just allowing your breath to slowly start to circulate through both hands from your heart to your womb, as if you are seeing the figure 8. This was an 8-year for those who are into numerology. So just start to see that breath as if it's like a golden light, just going from your womb to your heart to your womb in a figure 8 and the infinity symbol, just back and forth circulating up and down, just clearing any of the energies that may still be residing here that is really just in the way of allowing you to feel clear in your heart, to feel clear in your creativity, to feel clear in your soul. We're just clearing, doing a gentle little sweep of the energy. We are just going to go on a little journey together. So it's at this moment that I'm going to have you reflect on where you were for New Year's of last year, if you remember, wherever you did the countdown, or maybe you were sleeping, I know I was sleeping. Maybe like the last 15 minutes, I woke up right before the ball dropped. But, tapping in where you were for New Year's of last year. And I'm going to have you just kind of meet yourself in that moment, wherever you are, whatever room you're in, whatever experience that maybe it's not the best memory, and that's okay. I'm tapping in that some of you are resisting this. Some of you are thinking, oh gosh, I don't want to go back there. And it's okay. I'm going to invite you to just call that version of you forward. And as if you're looking in the mirror, I'm just going to invite you to Look at her in the eyes. I'm going to invite you to just have a little bit of a moment of soul gazing with her. And just meet her for who she is. Her hopes, her dreams, her visions for 2024, all of these different things that she thought was going to happen, or whoever she thought she was at the time. We're just honoring her. And I'm going to invite you to just share some words of wisdom to her. What do you want her to know? What would you like to say if you can go back to that time to kind of prepare her for what's to come? Can you meet her with love and no judgment, even if she was in a much different position that you're in now, and maybe she wasn't in the best place, but can you meet her with love? Can you meet her with forgiveness and understanding? And just send her some wisdom. And if you have a question, if you have anything that you're curious about, anything that you desired clarity on for that previous timeline in your life, you can just ask. And when you feel that you've met her and you've spoken with her and you've sent her love, I'm just going to invite you to give her a really, really big hug and just tell her that it's going to be okay. Tell her what you're looking forward to. Tell her what's on the other side. Tell her where you ended up. Tell her how proud you are of her. And then when you're ready, you can come back into your body now. Keep your eyes closed if they're closed. Keep your hand to your heart, your hand to your womb. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you reflect on some of the people that may have been a part of your world this time last year that are no longer here. I want to honor anyone who may have transitioned, honor anyone who may have, split up, partnerships, friendships, any type of relationships that have shifted this year for you. I'm just going to invite you to think about those people. If there's anyone in particular that feels triggering, it's okay. I want you to just tap back into the safety within your heart, within your body. If you need to actually tap your body, if you need to move your body, it's okay. You are safe. And I'm just going to invite you to do a little bit of the Ho'oponopono prayer with me. Just saying, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And just allowing those words to transcend anything that may have created a bond or a cord within your relationship with this person. Allow any cords to be dissolved. Allow them to just be met with love, met with grace, and for you to feel whole within yourself, for you to fill back up your cup, to just extract the lessons and just take the gratitude for everything that it taught you, for everything that this person may have brought to your life, how they led you to where you are right now, even if it was difficult, even if it was challenging, even if you didn't meet eye to eye. Just allow the love in your heart to meet that person. Thank you for everything you taught me. I honor your path and I let you go. And then, of course, last but not least, we have ourselves, the person that we are here and now. We have all of the aspirations that are still here. We have all of these big dreams that we still desire. We have the people who are our support here and now. We have this community. We have so much left to learn. We have so much left to build, so much left to grow. So it's at this moment that I'm just going to invite you to now picture that there is a mirror in front of you and you're talking to yourself. I'm just going to invite you to feed yourself some affirmations based off of what you're proud of. Talk about the strength and the resilience of who you are. Talk about all of the courage that it took to keep going when it didn't make any logical sense to keep going. Talk about how much of a badass you are. Talk about how much you've truly overcome so much in such a short span of time, that anything is possible from this point forward. Allow yourself to really believe in yourself again, to really see yourself again, to really love yourself again, to really feel confident in who you are and who you're becoming. Allow yourself to just have that moment, just you and you, to say, yeah, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And just land in that. Take a nice deep inhale through your heart as you really affirm that. I am exactly where I am supposed to be. I am exactly where I am supposed to be. I am exactly where I am supposed to be. And when you feel ready, you can just start to gently sweep your energy. Take your time, just starting to gently brush your energy from your arms, your legs, your shins, your ankles, your wrists, your neck, your chest. Just sweep the energy, just like as if you just need to flicker it off. You need to just wipe it off. Just let it go, my loves. Just let it go. How are we feeling? Let me know. Check in the comments. we feeling more grounded? Are we feeling inspired? Are we feeling in our heart? Are we getting emotional? How are you feeling? Feeling more at peace, feeling emotionally drained. So, yeah, it's a Cancer moon. It's a very emotional day. It's always going to be a good chance to get near water. Make sure that you drink a lot of water. You can work with water rituals. If you want to write some things down that came up for you and you want to put it in a bowl of water, watch it dissolve slowly. If you want to release an offering into the water, if you have a body of water near you, or if you want to take a salt bath or do something of that sort, or maybe write some affirmations down underneath a glass of water and then drink it. Definitely recommend working with the water element, especially since it's a Cancer moon. I cried my eyes out. Now I feel amazing. I love that. Such an amazing reminder of where I'm at, how far I've come. Yeah, very drained. Yeah. Ground my lips. Make sure that we're eating as well. Okay. Please make sure that we're eating the right foods. Feeling positive about what's coming, feeling grounded and inspired, feeling sleepy. I need a good nap. Well, yes, I hope you do have the best nap. So, um, I teared up with joy. I forgot what I did with my family on New Year's Eve. We all swept in the new year from the house to the back door, and then we blew the cinnamon. Oh, I love that. Yes, I love that brought you back to that memory. Yeah, I was, like I said, sleeping. I did get a massage. I got a massage on New Year's Eve last year. And then um, I had a very beautiful, intentional night with my previous partner. We had like our journals out and we were really reflecting on 2023. And then we fell asleep. And then I remember, like, again, 15 minutes before the ball dropped, I woke up and I was like, did I miss it? And then literally watched the ball drop like from my phone in bed, like in the dark, and then kissed for New Year's and then like went back to sleep. And that was honestly like the best. I just remember feeling very relaxed and just really well rested for the new year. Feeling grateful for how far I've come. Beautiful meditation. Good, good. I'm so grateful. So I know that we're kind of at the 90-minute mark. I want to honor everyone's time. Um, I was reminded to put on Beyonce Fierce outfit and keep it on forever. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, just, the Leo moon is tomorrow. So if we want to start dancing to Beyonce, we can totally do that. Um, Again, I want to honor everyone's time. I do have journal prompts for everybody. So I'm going to just kind of read them out loud. These are things that we already kind of spoke about on some level. You may have even talked about this in your post. I definitely recommend that you create an introduction in the Facebook to just, introduce yourself. And, you don't have to answer all these in the post, but I did notice that some of you were. But this is for you, okay? This is a really great thing that you can revisit again, either on the solstice or the New Year's. Like, you can definitely look at these again. But the whole idea here is everything we just kind of moved through on that journey together. And also, like, thinking about the areas of your life that did expand. Maybe things surprised you, where it's like, wow, I went through this really crazy inner child journey here, but wow, look at everything that I gained. It's kind of like me when it comes to the move. Like, that was a really big part of my year. And that surprised me. I didn't think that was going to be a part of it. So these are some journal prompts. And then for day 2 and day 3. Okay, before we meet again tomorrow at 1 p.m. EST, again, I really invite you to connect with one another. So some of you already made intro posts. If you want to welcome those who are making theirs, and just comment, just have that moment of I'm here too, right? We're all on this journey together. And then of course, like I said, we are going to have Q&A with the other astrologers as well. So reflect on some of the things that you're curious about. If you have any questions, I would definitely recommend writing them down. You can also always, maybe I'll put like a thread in the Facebook group where it's like, if you have questions, drop them. And maybe that would probably be the most cohesive way of getting some questions answered. But of course, if you can't think of anything right away, I don't want you to force it. Just reflect, and if you're just here to listen, that's cool too. And of course, thinking about the person that you're becoming. We're going to be talking a lot about self-leadership, a lot of self-mastery, wellness, things that are going to be some major themes, service, how we're meant to be of service to one another, in a really, really big, beautiful way, in a way that really is going to honor your sense of purpose for 2025. So just start reflecting on some of these things. If anyone, for any reason, is not in the Facebook group, let me know. You can find me on socials. I have been inviting people manually. I'm also sending out all the emails with reminders and all the things. So does anyone have any questions for me about what's next or anything in general? Oh, I love that, Heidi. Heidi said she'd draw a card and the star came out. Of course it did. If Calliope is still here, we had a whole journey with the star together, and that was the best. Yes. All right, so let me stop sharing my screen and come back to you guys. And we're still here. All right. Well, thank you for everyone who came and stayed and is still here. Yes, the prompts I'm going to drop everything in the group, and everyone's also going to get the PDF form in one big workbook format as well. Okay. Anyone else have any questions about anything? And then we are complete. All right, my loves. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Go nourish yourselves. Go be fabulous. We got a big, big, big week ahead. So much more to come. I'm grateful for your presence, and I hope to see you again live tomorrow at 1:00 p.m. EST. All right, darlings. I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.